Sometimes you just want to game without burning through your data or hunting for a Wi-Fi signal. Whether you are on a flight, commuting, or just hiding from the world in your room, I have got you covered. Today we are counting down the top 15 best new offline games for Android and iOS in 2025. This is Jasper and make sure you are already subscribed. Alright then, let's dive in. Starting off at number 15 is Flight School Simulator. If you have ever wanted to be the Mr. Miyagi of your own martial arts empire, this is the one. It's a mix of a management sim and a 3D fighter. You start with a dusty, empty building and have to clean it up, buy equipment and recruit students. Watching your grasshoppers train and eventually win tournaments is weirdly satisfying. You even have to collect tuition from them manually, but the combat can feel a bit floaty. Also, the enemies in the tournament mode scale up way too fast, which can feel unfair if you haven't grinded for hours. But the sense of progression is great. Going from a garage dojo to a massive martial arts academy feels earned.
If you can hear this, please hurry. I don't have much time left.
At number 14, Galaxy Division Space Battles. Now, some of you might recognize the engine here. It feels like an evolution of the classic Subdivision Infinity, but everything has been dialed up to 11. This is a high-octane third-person space shooter that looks absolutely gorgeous on a modern OLED screen. You have got over 40 different spacecraft, and the weapon customization is deep. We are talking 100 plus modules and weapons to mix and match. The campaign takes you through star systems filled with boss duels and trade routes. While the visuals are stunning, the controls can be finicky. I have noticed the movement joystick sometimes drops your input mid-dogfight, forcing you to lift your thumb and reset it. It also needs a bit more optimization even on high-end devices. The frame rate can dip during heavy explosions. But if you want a game where you can enjoy galaxy battles with great visuals and solo campaign, you can give it a shot. Coming in at number 13 is the classic high-speed simulator Driving Zone. If you want a game that focuses purely on the thrill of high-speed street racing, this is it. Unlike other races that focus on laps, Driving Zone is all about waving through traffic across 4 unique tracks. What I love most is the physics customization. You can switch between a complicated simulation for a challenge or easy for a more arcade feel. The engine sounds are recorded from real cars, and playing in the cockpit view with the dynamic daylight cycle feels incredibly immersive. The variety of cars from classic hatchbacks to modern supercars is great, and the record system allows you to share your best high-speed runs with friends. It's an endless style racer, so if you are looking for a deep career mode with a story, you won't find it here. Also, since it's physics heavy, if you crash at high speeds, the complicated physics mode can make it really hard to get the car under control again. Coming in at number 12 is SpongeBob Patty Pursuit 2. Don't let the kids game level fool you. This is a top-tier platformer. Following the success of the first game on Apple Arcade, the sequel brings more of the buttery smooth animation and iconic voice acting. The level design is actually quite clever, requiring you to use different Bikini Bottom friends to solve puzzles and bypass plankton traps. It's an Apple Arcade exclusive for now, so Android users are currently left in the dry. Also, the difficulty spikes in the later levels might actually make you want to throw your phone. At number 11, we have RV Camper Simulator. If you have ever watched a van life TikTok and thought, I could do that, this game will test that theory. You are driving a massive RV through winding mountain roads and scenic forest. You have to manage your fuel, water and electricity, and even set up camp correctly to avoid rolling down a hill in your sleep. It's incredibly relaxing until you realize you are low on gas in the middle of nowhere. The environmental textures in the background look a bit dated compared to the highly detailed RV interiors. Despite that, it's a solid experience. Cracking the top 10 is Quarantine Last Survival. This isn't just a zombie game, it's a high-stakes medical management sim. You are the commander of a quarantine camp at the edge of a collapsing city. Your job is to screen every person coming to the gates. You use scanners to check symptoms, measure temperatures, and then make the tough call. Do they go to the safe zone or are they headed for isolation? What makes this stand out is the management layer. You are building medical tents, labs, and treatment rooms to cure the people you save. Once they're healthy, you have to transport them to a safe camp using ambulance and trucks. The day-night cycle really amps up the pressure. The infection risks get much higher when the sun goes down. The sense of responsibility is huge. If you accidentally let an infected person into the healthy group, the virus spreads through your camp in seconds. But the ads can be frequent if you are playing with your data on, so definitely play this one offline as intended. Also, the survivors sometimes panic or try to escape, which can lead to some junky AI pathfinding. Number 9 is Timeline. It's a game that will make your brain hurt in the best way possible. This is a stealth puzzle game where you can control time like a media player. If you get caught by a robot guard, just rewind and try a different path. You are playing as a girl and her cat, and you have to coordinate their moves simultaneously. The art style is gorgeous, and the time scrubbing mechanic is super intuitive. But it's a relatively short game. Once you know the puzzles, there isn't much reason to go back. So if you like stealth puzzle game with polish and great visuals, give it a try. And folks, before moving on, drop a like on this video now. Well, for the old school FPS fans, Ocean Light takes the number 8 spot. This is a boomer shooter inspired by the classics. You are infiltrating an underground World War II bunker filled with secrets, traps, and bosses. It's fast, it's pixelated, and it feels like 1994 in all the right ways. With excellent performance, this will run on literally any potato phone. The labyrinth can be too confusing. I spent 20 minutes looking for a single keycard because it blended into the wall textures. Anyway, it's a gritty, nostalgia-filled FPS that offers pure, unadulterated retro action. Coming in at number 7 is the surprisingly intense Cheese Exit Run multi-mode. This isn't just a simple puzzle game, it's an escape room style action game where you are trapped in a massive maze. The core goal is simple: collect every piece of cheese scattered around while evading a giant, terrifying rat that is constantly stalking you. What makes this version great is the multi-mode feature available on the home screen. You can unlock different escape challenges, new mazes, and even cool skins for your characters. It's got that high pressure OB feel, where one wrong turn means a frantic chase through the dark. The variety of levels and the thrill of the chase keep you on your toes. The power-ups you find in the maze really help when the rat is right on your tail. But the only downside of the game is the jump button can be a bit unresponsive at times, which is a nightmare during a chase. Also, because it's free, you will see a lot of skin unlock prompt that can be a bit distracting. Overall, it's a heart-pounding maze runner that turns a simple snack hunt into a terrifying game of cat and mouse. Taking the 6th spot is a game that truly nails the last stand vibe. Dead River Last Hope. You play as a former soldier stranded near a riverside resort just 3 days before a biological weapon outbreak. This isn't just a mindless shooter, it's a deep, story-driven RPG. You have to fix a broken boat to escape, but you end up building a team of survivors including scientists, a priest, and a scavenger. The gameplay is a mix of tactical FPS combat and exploration. You will search for abandoned cabins and mountain outposts for loot while upgrading your gear to survive enemies that literally evolve and mutated every time they kill. The day-night cycle and dynamic weather makes every mission feel unique and dangerous. The hit response and sound design are incredible. Watching zombies actually react to where they are shot adds a ton of realism. But the inventory management can feel slow on smaller screens. Overall, a gritty, atmospheric survival experience that sets a new standard for open-world zombie games on mobile. At number 5, Man-Eater. This is the official Android port of the hit console game, and it is a massive technical achievement. The game lets you play through the opening chapters of the story for free. You start as a small shark pup and must eat, grow and evolve to survive alligator-infested swamps and human hunters. What makes this port special is that it includes the full satirical narrative voiced by Chris Parnell. The evolution system is deep, allowing you to unlock bioelectric teeth, bone armor, and more. Once you finish the trial, you can unlock the full game, including all 7 massive open-world regions, for a one-time purchase, making it completely ad-free and playable offline. But it requires a beefy device to run well. Lower-end phones might experience significant blurring or crashes. Well, this is the definitive shark simulator that brings a high-budget console power fantasy directly to your pocket. At number 4, Infinite Lives. If you have played Extra Lives or Super City, this is the massive 3D evolution you have been waiting for. It's a shared universe where superhumans and subhumans, including zombies, fight for control of a sprawling city. The combat system is built on MDK's refined wrestling engine, meaning you have total freedom to grapple, throw and use hundreds of interactive weapons, from furniture to laser beams. What makes this special is the vicious cycle of life. You start your own origin story, and based on your actions, you can develop godlike powers or lose your humanity and become a zombie. The map is huge, stretching from city streets to the stars, and destructible scenery means no two fights feel the same. But MDK games are famous for being junky. The controls supercharge every button, which makes them easy to enjoy but very difficult to master, and the camera can sometimes get stuck in tight corners. Anyway, overall, it's the ultimate superhero zombie sandbox that offers more creative freedom than almost any other game on this list. And folks, now it is time, smash that subscribe button and discover amazing games.
Beyond Ray, come find me, and I'll show you your purpose.
Well, on the third number of the list, Bendy and the Dark Revival. This is the official sequel to the cult classic Bendy and the Ink Machine. You play as Audrey, an animator who finds herself pulled into a twisted, ink-drenched version of the Joey Drew studio. Unlike the first game, this is a full-blown survival horror experience with first-person combat, stealth mechanics, and a much larger map. The graphics are a massive step up from the first game, capturing that vintage 1930s aesthetic with modern lighting and shadows. The story is also much more mature and engaging. Well, the mobile port does have a few quirks. The voiceovers sometimes desync from the animators, and the touch sensitivity can feel a bit high even at the lowest setting. It's also a premium paid title, so it's not for the free-to-play crowd. Taking the runner-up spot is the breathtaking Planet of Lana. This is a cinematic puzzle adventure that finally landed on mobile. You play as Lana, a girl on a rescue mission across an alien world that's being invaded by a robotic army. The core of the game is your relationship with your animal companion. It's a pacifist adventure, like you use stealth and your weights rather than combat. The mobile port is exceptional, featuring a revamped interface for touchscreens and full cloud save support. It is easily one of the most beautiful games ever released on a phone. The soundtrack is cinematic And the bond between Lana and Mui is genuinely moving. It's a bit of a walk simulator at times, and the puzzles are not overly difficult, which might bore players looking for a hardcore challenge. Overall, a breathtaking artistic journey that everyone should experience at least once.
This country is infested with all manner of scum.
And finally, taking the number 1 spot is the legendary epic we thought we would never see on a phone, Red Dead Redemption. Rockstar Games has officially brought the complete 2010 masterpiece to Android and iOS. This is not a mobile version, it is the full experience of John Marston's journey across the American frontier and Mexico. The port is incredibly stable and includes all the single-player content, including the iconic Undead Nightmare expansion where you fight off a zombie plague in the Old West. The visuals have been sharpened for modern mobile displays, and it features refined touch controls that surprisingly don't get in the way of the gunplay. It also supports 60 FPS on high-end devices, making the ride through the desert smoother than it ever was on the original consoles. You can watch my full review on the Netflix version of the game, which is free if you have a Netflix subscription. But I heard the paid version is better than the Netflix one on the optimization part. So let me know what you think in the comment section. And there you have it, folks. These are the 15 best new offline games you need to be playing right now. Which one are you downloading first? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe for more mobile gaming content. See you in the next one. Happy gaming!